Assalamualaikum guys. My name is Muhammad Ali bin Samsul Bahari. My matric number 1180356 1180356. Today my team will discuss our news analysis either from local news or from overseas news. For me, this is my finding from the Star Online. Firstly, the masjid or what kind of that newspaper, like what I say before, the Star. Next, the headline or the title of this news, and basically it must be in bold. So here is the people test positive for COVID-19, the nation topic in this newspaper. Another point is byline or the name of reporter this news, but I did not find that name in this news. Only that from me. Thank you. We will go to the next person.
Now, I will tell my findings about my second news, which is where did the masthead, headline, baseline, and byline. The masthead of this news is The Guardian, which is located on the top of the news, and these international news are from Australia. Secondly, the headline of this news is large COVID outbreak in China linked to Xinjiang forced labor, as we call it as a title of the story. Third, the baseline of this news is from China. Fourth, the byline of this news is from Guardian staff, and this news was published on Thursday, 29 October 2020. So now, let's move to the next news.
Another important element in news rating is lead. What is lead? A lead is an opening paragraph that gives the audience the most important information of the news story in a concise and clear manner, while still maintaining the reader's interest. Leads in news stories answers most of the 5W and 1H question: who, what, where, when, why, and how. For example, take a look at this news entitled COVID-19 57 belajar guru jalani ujian saringan. The phrase seramai 57 warga sekolah pelajar perempuan Takyah dan sekolah Indonesia answers who question. Next, the phrase menjalani ujian jalitan answers what question. Then, berikutan seorang pelajar disahkan positif wabak coronavirus answers why question. And lastly, phrase Khamis lalu answer when question. The lead in this news is a summary lead, means there are more than one major facts that have been covered from the story, which is referred to the school community and the student who is positive of COVID-19.
Okay, now we move to the next news from the Korea Herald International News. So the headlines is Seoul to give 3,000 won to first year student in middle high schools. So now we want to focus the lead of this news, which is Seoul Metropolitan Office of Education Superintendent Cho Hee-hyun will provide all first year students in the city's middle and high schools with a one-off stipend of 3,000 won starting from next year, the city's education office announced Thursday. So the lead was complete with who, what, where, when, and where. So the complete lead is the good lead.
The news that I have been choose is local Malay news entitled Lori Terbabas Memandu Maut from Berita Harian. So I will give explanation about some elements of inverted pyramid such as the lead, the body and the tail in this news. Firstly, the lead for this news is Johor Bahru. Seorang pemandu lori pengangkut sampah maut apabila kenderaan dipandunya terbabas lalu terbalik dalam nahas di Jalan Kota Tinggi, Bandar Tenggara berhampiran Sungai Sisip pagi hari ini. Next, the body for this news is dalam kejadian jam 11.10 pagi itu, Jaman Ibrahim 64 disahkan meninggal dunia di lokasi kejadian. Penolong kanan penguasa bomba Azman Jantan berkata 16 anggota dari Balai Bomba Penyelamat Kota Tinggi bergegas ke lokasi kejadian selepas menerima panggilan kecemasan. Kemalangan membabitkan sebuah lori pengangkut sampah yang didapati terbabas dan terbalik. Seorang mangsa lelaki dewasa didapati tersepit di tempat duduk pemandu dan disahkan sudah meninggal dunia. Finally, the tale for this news is 2 lagi mangsa yang duduk di sebelah pemandu cedera dan dihantar ke hospital Kota Tinggi bagi mendapat rawatan, katanya dalam kenyataan hari ini. Azman berkata, mayat mangsa diserahkan kepada polis Diraja Malaysia PDRM bagi tindakan susulan.
Next, the inverted pyramid for the English news. There are 3 elements, which is the lead, the body and also the tail. The lead is about the most important information that consists of who, where and so on. The body also about the crucial information that expanding the arguments. And the last one is the tail, which is the extra information that related to the items and also the journalist. Next, we go to the example in the New Straits Times. For the lead, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Leong Bank Berhad HLB is hopeful that the government could ensure the economic recovery momentum is maintained with an expansionary fiscal policy in the upcoming 2021 budget. Next, we go to the body. For example, Group Managing Direction and Chief Executive Officer Dominic Fudan said priorities should be given on key initiatives that will have a multiplier effect on the country's economy. Initiatives aimed at helping small-medium enterprises, which is SMEs, recovery from the aftershock of the COVID-19 pandemic will help the recovery. Then, for the tail, for example, targeted SME programs will not only help alleviate financial pressures but also create a conducive environment for digital and technological adoption and new investments to lay a strong foundation for business sustainability and growth.
If we understand the type of story, we will improve our writing and also help us to reach the readers. There are many kinds of stories, and the most common is news and feature story. News consists of information that recent events in our country or the world, while feature story is not about news, but is about human interest. People call as a people stories. When I read feature stories and news, I can see a big difference in timeline. If you publish news, you must to publish as quick and as fast as possible, and you must to follow the timeline. While feature stories doesn't have any timeline and you can write anytime, so there is no content urgent. So this is the differences between news and stories and feature stories.
Okay, now I will talk about the differences between the beginning and ending of the news and features. A news story and a feature story have different types of beginnings and endings. News stories tell what the news is up front and then give the most important details in the first paragraph or two. For example, from the first news that I found, which is the headline of that news was entitled "Bangkok World Opening to be Delayed," shows that the beginning of their news stories give the most important details in the first paragraph. Meanwhile, the beginning or lead of a feature story, on the other hand, doesn't give the news straight away. Instead, it hooks readers and keeps them reading until the end. For example, the second news that I found, which is the headline of that news, was entitled "We Found Kakak Baju Putih and Her Orange Cat, Mine Sky." Doesn't give the news straight away in the first paragraph. Then, the differences between the beginning and ending of the news and features are a news story can end anywhere after you have described the most important facts. For example, from the first news that I found shows that the ending of the news and anywhere after you have read the most important facts in that news, whereas a feature story ends with readers feeling satisfied that they gain some value from reading the story. For example, from the second news that I found ends with the readers feeling satisfied and the news stories end with the problem solving about the news that occur. That's all for me.
Hi, I am Muhammad and Akmal bin Osman, entry number 1180347. Today I would like to talk about difference between job hours and writing news or feature. Broadly speaking, a news story is about something that is timely. It is happening today, tomorrow or next week. New journalists tend to be on much shorter deadline and will perhaps work on anything up to 10 news stories a day. An average news story is usually between 30 to 400 words in print or online. Length is one of the big difference between a news story and a feature. Let me give you an example. Our first news in the scrapbook that is Agong mendapati tiada keperluan darurat from Berita Harian. This news occurs when some controversy or an issue happen in Malaysia that rumors that it will be state of emergency, or in Malay it called darurat. As soon as Yang di-Pertuan Agong announced that there no need for darurat, Berita Harian published the news at 25 October 2020. The controversy was happened in between last week, about 23 to 30 October 2020. As you can see, the news published between 2 or 3 days in a week that issues and controversy happen. Next, for feature. Feature are much more reflective and examine current trends, pattern, awareness, days, mark an anniversary, or take a more depth in a look at the current news story. Nowadays, you will often see journalists using Twitter to find a particular case study for a feature they are working on. Feature writers are usually working to longer deadline than a news writer. A feature is also much longer than a news story, usually around 2,000 words, but can be much more. For example, from our collection of feature Bekerja dari Rumah, Langkah Pencegahan Awal COVID-19 from Berita Harian. This feature basically talk about what happened nowadays when people start to work from home because coronavirus and PKP. Writers also share an opinion and tips to work at home effectively. She also shared a picture of Muslim staff that start to work at home in the middle of October. As you can see, feature writing is more long than news because it have an opinion, elaboration other than fact on news.
I want to talk about the different style of writing news and feature story. First, news is written quickly so that it uses short, simple and effective words. But feature are written with more literal and also quite long. So for example, we can see from the length between news about bayi dalam beg sandang ditinggal di atas peti surat, and the feature about lipas hidup dalam kepala. So we can see the different length between news and feature story. That we can see feature story more longer than news. News writing is more focused on nouns and verb, more organized in the form of subject and predicate. It uses more straightforward words to explain the event of the news. While feature writing is further develop the adjective, and the style can be twisted first to achieve the attain direction, and the words used can be flowery, colorful and illustrative. This new just use straightforward words to explain the event of new, but feature like the film about story someone. You can see this new and feature different is